Hello, everyone. This is Robin with Center Street Decor. I'm pretty excited to paint with you today. It's been a long time. Happy New Year. I can't believe it's 2022. I did never think I would get to that. Didn't ever think that we would get to that point in life, but here we are. So glad to be here. So today I wanted to hop on and show you a few Valentine projects that I designed, and so then I'm going to paint them for you. I've got some cute things. Let me make sure I am live over here on my computer. Let me do a refresh. Oh, there we are. Okay, great. It's a little slowed down, so okay. So glad to be here, you guys. It's been a while since I've done a live, and it is time. It's time to get going on doing my lives and showing you some fun paint projects. So let me show you what we've got. We've got this darling kissing booth sign. So these items are perfect for a little tiered tray or a little shelf sitter type thing. I have some cute examples on the top of my Facebook website, my banner. If you look at that, I've got some really darling examples of how I have staged these. So this one is the kissing booth right here. So, and we're going to paint that one today. And then we have tickets. Now these tickets are so cute. Admit one and pucker up. Perfect for a kissing booth. So the tickets, this actually comes in a kit. So if you would like to buy the raw wood and paint them yourself, that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. So you would get all of the pieces to make the kissing booth, and then you would get the pieces to make 6 of the tags. And I painted mine today, and that's how I'll do them today. Red and pink. You can do whatever color scheme you like. So in my Etsy shop, I have this kit available. Those of you who have a laser, I also have a say it again, SVG file that you can cut them out yourself. So, and the other piece to the kit is the XO. And then we are going to make a garland banner, not in this video, but I'm going to do one more video. So this one's not so long, but I'm going to do a garland banner, and these pieces also come in the kit. Also available, I have kits on the Etsy shop to make your own banner. So just the banner, and I have red and pink beads available. Let me show you the red. The red's darling too. So I have the red, and you can paint the X and O however you want to paint them, whatever color you want to paint them. And then the beads are available. So fun. Let's get to painting, you guys. Okay. So colors I'm going to use for my paint project, I'm going to use a burnt umber. The burnt umber is going to be for our frame around our kissing booth sign. Burnt umber, and we're going to use some white paint. This is just apple barrel that I have here. So I have apple barrel, white paint, and then the red I'm going to use is Cardinal Crimson from Apple Barrel, and then I have this one from Valspar. It is a Sonic Pink. I don't really have a preference for paint choices right now, so I use what I have available, and that would work for you. So let's go ahead, and I'm gonna tip you down so that you can see my little workstation here. So let me see if I can get you in frame. I'm going to look at my other camera over here and see how well we're doing. It's hard to see. Sorry if I'm getting so close. Okay. I think that should work pretty good. I'm going to bring me forward a little bit more. Okay, you guys. So here is the ones that are pre-painted, the ones that I painted and staged for you. So I'm going to set these aside and then bring in the pieces that I'm going to be using. So when you get your piece, this is all going to be together. You're going to have your kissing booth word right inside here, and there'll be some tape on the back for you. So this is your frame that will go over your kissing booth, your arrow, and then here are your words. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and paint the white first. The white's going to take a few different coats on this one, but what I like to do, I've got these brown edges on these, is I really like to use a 220 grit sandpaper. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take them, rub it on there, and wipe it off. So that kind of gets rid of most of that. So I will do that with all of my pieces that we're going to use today. So, and I actually have the sandpaper. You can just use the sandpaper. I just bought it at the hardware store. Wipe it up, wipe it off. So I have this on, blow some of the dust off. I have this on just a wood block that I got from the garage, and I taped it so that it would be sturdy in place. So that's what I have here. So we're going to use the kissing booth. We're going to sand some of that. And you can feel free to paint both your sides, the front and the back if you want. Today I'm just going to do the front, but if you want to do both, if you think the back is going to show. So when you're sanding your kissing booth, keep it inside of this frame. And then that way, because remember, when you have little pieces like this, they are so fragile. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a good sanding. Focus on that booth area. A lot of times when you have your wood, it has little hairs. Hairs is not the right wood, but pieces that are sticking up, you can feel that it feels rough. So the sanding really helps get rid of a lot of that roughness. Okay, so once I have that, I'll turn it upside down on my paper towel and just give it a rub. Just to get, blow on it if you need to get rid of some of the dust. So with your little ticket pieces that go right on top, again, you got to be really careful with these because they're pretty fragile. Looks like my tape is not holding up on my wood block, but I'm just gonna hold it with my fingers. Okay, so again, and these are again very fragile, so just gently rub these. So what I'm doing is I'm just prepping my wood to be painted. Okay, so it just helps get rid of that brown mark. If you don't mind all of the brown mark, it's not necessary to do this. It's just another option. So I'm going to do it with my little arrow. Be careful with your arrow. I'm going to put this down on the table. That will be easier. Oh, hello, Michelle. I'm glad you've joined us. Just painting away here. So my frame, I am actually not going to sand because I want some of that burnt edges. Let's do a little bit more of these tickets. Okay. just a little bit prep work that I personally like to do. So if this is a step that you want to skip, you can feel free to skip that step. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, so now that I have my pieces ready, I have a towel on my lap. So usually when I'm painting, I either have an apron on or a towel. So I'm going to use my towel just to get rid of any excess dust. So now that I have my pieces, so I've got my paint right here. And I am going to actually use this sponge. You can use a paintbrush, a sponge brush, whatever you like. But I am just going to dip it in my white and then just give it a light coat. It paints really quick with this sponge. I use a few different sponges. Now you can see the words kissing booth on this wood piece, and that is just a guide so you know where to line up your arrow and then your words, so you can get them as straight as possible. So when I designed this file, the kissing booth and the arrow, they're just a little bit smaller than the arrow and the words. So these are just a little bit smaller, a little narrower, so that they don't stick out. You don't see the lines on the outside. That's just how I like to design my files. Okay, go over this. So I'm going to set this aside and let that dry a little bit. So with my frame, I'm going to use a baby white. And I am going to actually just take a little bit of this brown paint, and I'm going to wipe it off on my paper towel. So what I want to do is I just want to create kind of a faux or a fake stained look. Okay, you can again paint it solid if you like that look, but I want this to have like kind of a wood grain look. And this wood that I have cut out, this is birch, and that's what you will be receiving in your kit. So I just saw that I got some white paint on my arrow, but I'm going to take my baby wipe and wipe that off. My arrow is too close to my sign. Just use your baby wipe. So same with your edges. If you get some white paint on your edges, just wipe it off. Just get a quick wipe. If you don't like the white edges, then you can do that. If you don't mind a little bit of white hanging over the edges, you don't need to worry about it. This is your project, your way. Okay, so I think that looks great. So I'm going to set that aside. That's ready to go. This is still just a little bit damp. Let's take my red, and I'm going to paint three of these red, and I'll paint three of them pink. So this is the Cardinal Crimson. And I like to use these little sponges. I just get them off of Amazon. So these are sponges, and I am going to dip it into my paint. And I don't want to go, if I go too heavy on this, it will just kind of bleed everywhere. So I like to just wipe it off on my paper towel, and then I come over my project. And I'm giving it just a light tap. You could also just use these sponges for this sign as well. Or like I said, a foam brush, a paintbrush, whatever you like to use. So paint over that. So same thing with my tickets. So we have the engraving here, and I want to be careful not to get the paint inside the engraving. So I'm just going to paint over top with a very light touch. So, and I usually drag it from the center to the outside. On the outside, you can push down just a little bit more, but when I'm doing those engravings, you want to be careful not to have a lot of paint on your sponge or it will go inside there. But don't you worry, start out less, get a feel for it, and go over that. Okay, pick up a little bit more paint when you're ready. Go over it. Okay. So if you like a little bit of a weathered look, that would be super cute just to stop right there. If you want to go more solid, go ahead and do one more coat or two if you feel that that's necessary. So let's set this aside. And I'm going to come back to my kissing booth because I do want an extra coat or two on this one. And again, just sliding it over just lightly. Spin that around. There, looking good. That was my arrow. Let's grab my arrow. Just lightly going over that. Now, did you notice I didn't pick up any more paint when I decided to go over my arrow because I want to make sure not to have too much paint. So just going over that. Cute little Valentine projects. You can go ahead and get some kits for family and friends and have a paint party. That would be fun. Okay, I think that looks great. Looks great. Okay, let's grab my, oh, I could have painted this white while I was doing this, huh? I think this is definitely ready for another coat. So you can use this same yellow sponge for here if you want, but remember, this is such a thin piece that you just want to go over it. I'm just giving it very light touches. In fact, I'm kind of just tapping. You can also just use the makeup sponge, not the red one, of course. You would get a clean one, unless that's the look you're going for. You want to do a tie-dyed look, you go for it. This is your project, your way. So I'm just giving you just some ideas on how you would paint that. Okay, let's come back to this. Now, if you like that weathered look, I mean, that's really cute right there. So let me just show you if I lay my arrow. That's darling right there. You could stop right there and have just a weathered look. That's darling. Tempting, tempting, but I'm going to do one more coat. Just one more coat. And you might see that your letters kind of start to become invisible, but don't worry, you'll still be able to see them when it's time for you to place your pieces on there. Oh, it's been so long since I did a live. I was really nervous to get started again, but I'm glad I'm here with you. And if you happen to come on and you're watching this on the replay, send me a little message. Say, hey, hashtag replay. Just let me know that you've come to join me. So again, this project, when I do white, anytime I use white, it's going to take a good 3 coats at least when I do white. Anytime, anything you're painting white with, the darker colors cover much more easily. So I like that. I'm going to set that aside. let's paint. Oh, I grab a couple more of these. A little bit of white. So these I might just give either one or two coats, depending on the look that you like. Oh, hey, hi, Heidi. Oh, I thought Heidi was on. I had another pop-up. Heidi's my daughter, and sometimes she comes on and watch me. She wasn't here. I wish she was here watching. She's in Europe. She lives in Europe, and I miss her a lot. But we message each other all the time. I'm really grateful for technology that we can chat all the time. Her husband is in the Air Force, as my husband was too. He was Air Force. He served for 25 years in the military. So we have traveled a lot of different places. We lived in England and we lived in Germany. So, but when we were there, we wrote letters to my family and then called every once in a while because it was super expensive. So that's why I am really grateful for modern technology. I grab my pink here. And when I use these, eventually I'm going to put these into bottles, but right now they're not in a bottle. So I just usually use the paint out of the lid. So again, I'm just going to wipe off. And that first time you go over this, very lightly. Remember, you do not want to go into that engraved area. And if you do, which I have done it before, I just usually get a pin, a needle, or just a very thin poker tool, and then just kind of gently scrape it out. So I'm barely pushing down on this. So I'm just dragging the paint just very gently. If I was to push really firm, I definitely would get in that engraved. And we don't want to do that because we want to be able to read our admit one, pucker up. That's perfect for a low kissing booth, huh? Okay. And that is great. I mean, with one coat, I think that that's really nice. But you could do two if you want it to be a little bit more solid. I'm going to do one more coat on this red because this paint is a little bit thinner than the pink. The Valspar is quite a bit thicker paint. Good coverage. More of a professional paint, that is. But your acrylic paints, your water-based paints, they work great too. I've used them for years and years. So whatever you have on hand, you would use. Okay, and that looks great to me. Okay, so now that I have these pieces, so I already have some that are kind of finished up over here. Um, I've got some reds, so you don't have to watch me do the same technique over and over. So it looks like I've got a few of these that have been painted of the top parts to our ticket, and I've got 3 of these. So again, if you get some on the edges that you don't want, you just find a clean spot of your baby wipe and rub over that. Look at that. Okay, so if you don't like that over the edges, just take a baby wipe Baby wipes are so handy for so many things, aren't they? Keep them in your car, travel with them, just so you have them for any spills or anything. They're handy to have, even if you don't have babies around. My babies are all grown up. Okay, so that's something that you can do. I'm gonna give these just one more coat on the top because I feel I can see a lot of the brown through there. Just a little bit more white. One more time. Just light tapping. Again, use whatever little sponges you have on hand. Um, just remember when you just kind of get used to the sponge you have. Just a light tap is really all you need. And I actually probably prefer the smaller sponge to do little items. But since I had this already with the white, I went ahead and did that. Okay, so there we have it. Don't worry about getting paint on your fingers because I am always painted up. Okay, so we've got our tickets ready. We've got our red. I'm going to slide my paper towel over just a little bit so I can come away from some of that wet paint that's there. Okay, so we're ready to glue everything together. This is fun. So I just go ahead and just use this stick fast glue. This is my favorite. And that's what I'm just going to use today. I have gone through a lot of different bottles. There was actually a goober on top of there, so I just pulled it off that was dried. So you don't need very much of this. This is a super glue. It dries really fast. So the one thing that I like to do when I'm doing this is before I put it on my project, I'll take it on my paper towel and turn it upside down. Just give it a light little tap. That way, if you get a lot of paint on here, that's one way to get rid of some of that excess. And then go ahead and just lay it on here. Now I'm going to put it on my table and line it up really well. Put my fingers on all the edges just to make sure it's lined up. Okay, do you see that paint sticking out? Let's see if we can take a clean spot of the baby wipe and wipe up some of that white. Oh, look at that. That looks better, huh? I'm just cleaning up a little bit of the white that came over the edges. Just cleaning that up. I can see that I need to push down right here for it to stick. Just hold it for a few seconds. Okay, so we've got that. Again, we have let's put our arrow on. Now, a lot of times when you're working with your small pieces, that's when the paint will, or not the paint, but the glue will squish out a little bit. So again, just turn it upside down, paper towel, and it just gets rid of that excess. Okay, I'm going to lean over. Sorry if you see my head in the screen. I don't know if you will or not. So you just look at that arrow that's underneath there, and you want to, oh, you know what? I've got to get my little reader glasses on. That would really help me. Oh yeah, see now I can see the lines. I was painting blind before. Well, just my little reader glasses. I love them. I have several pairs all over the house. Okay, look how darling that is. I love it. Okay, so when you go to take this out, you're going to turn it upside down. Going to remove the tape. Okay, and then just gently lift it up. You might do some tapping to get rid of your pieces out. And you might have some of the small pieces that are still connected on the inside, but they'll just fall out. I gotta get a little paint right there. Okay, there we go. Okay. So yeah, so if there's any little pieces like the center of the O is still there, just pop it out before you put it on your project. And this again, this is where that technique of tapping the glue off before you put it on your project. Because you want to get those little pieces on. It doesn't need a ton of glue, but a lot of times when you're gluing, excuse me, a lot of times when you're gluing small pieces, you use a little bit more glue than you need. So that's why you're tapping off before you put it on your project. Okay, so just line it up with your letters. Turn it upside down. Look at all the different sides before you give some firm pressure. This glue dries super fast. But just look at all of the angles before you do that. Now this glue over here is not drying yet, so okay, once you get it where you want, just give it a little push. Hold it for a few seconds. Okay, now I'm going to tap this one. I don't do them both at the same time because otherwise one of them would get glued to my paper towel, and I don't want that. Okay, sometimes it sticks to your fingers because it is super glue. Okay, look at all the angles to see. And get your pair of these little reader glasses. Dollar Tree. Like I say, I have several of them. Okay, that looks darling. It looks darling. Okay, cute, cute. Okay, let's take our pieces here. Same thing, it's so narrow and thin, but you definitely want to get like the corners and I just do like little lines here and there, not necessarily the whole thing, but you definitely kind of want to get the corners and outsides. So again, let's turn it upside down, give it a little tap, and we're going to line it up. Before you give it a firm push, and it dries really quick, so you only have just a few seconds to work with. Isn't that adorable? Oh, I love it. Okay, let's do a pink one here. A little bit of glue, a little bit of tap on your paper towel, lift up. Just gonna give it a look at it, see if I'm straight. There, how cute is that? So you will have 6 of these in the kit. Little fuzzies, blow them off. How cute is that? So you'll have 6 of them in your kit. I don't have a whole lot of luck with this adjusting of the camera. So once I bring it up, I haven't quite figured out how to do it, but these are my little reader glasses. They're super helpful. Anyway, that's our little project today. Our little kissing booth sign with our tickets. Just darling. I hope that you'll want to put these together and make some up. They turned out super cute. So anyway, I hope you all have a fabulous day, and I'm going to come on here again maybe later today, and I will show you how to do our garland. And we'll just go ahead and paint our projects here, and then I'm going to teach you how to do the garland and then a tassel, make the tassel. And I have a trick to making the tassel. I actually use something that I have available. This is called a tassel maker. And this is what I use to make my tassels. It's super handy. So anyway, I hope you all have a great day, and I'm going to come on here a little later and show you how to make this darling garland. And this goes with the kissing booth set. So anyway, have a great day, everybody. Bye.